Welcome to the World Movers Podcast. I am your host, DJ Angel Fire, with my co-host Noah, aka 51st Citizen. And today on the program, we have our guest Kenny Pahina. He has a new debut single out now. He's probably the next Max Martin. Kenny Pahina, would you like to introduce yourself?
Woo. Well, I sound Kenny Pahina. I'm 25 years old. Woo. Max Martin. I love that dude. Yeah, that's like my man. Anywho, yeah, like I've just been doing music since I was like pretty young. Started singing at 5 and stuff, and did private piano lessons, music lessons, and went to a performing arts school. But I've always been involved in pop music and watching music videos on TV, VH1, and everything like that. And I'm like, I want to do
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I started producing around 2007, 2008, mainly listening to Timbaland's music. That was pretty good. All that stuff that he was really popular with, and he was just banging, and I just like really wanted to do stuff like he was doing, and and do stuff that pop stars were doing on their music videos, and I was just like, I want to do stuff like that.
You got your start with FL Studio by chance?
Oh yes. I was How old was I? Like 12 or 13. I was sure like my dad wasn't gonna buy it for me, so oh God, forgive me. I like stole it on the internet. I don't know, on YouTube and stuff. I was just like producing with it. Oh my God, I'm gonna get arrested. I'm exposed. But yeah,
Yeah,
like since then I was like started like making beats and stuff, and just making some really weird shit that was actually pretty horrible. But I guess eventually, like as time went on, like maybe I got better. And yeah, that's like I still use it to this day.
yeah. When you say you originally had private piano lessons, were you into like classical or jazz or anything like that at that time?
Oh
Or were you
yeah, like
learning that kind
so
of stuff?
yeah, like mainly when I started learning is just like these really baby lessons that they teach you, but eventually like you move on to like different classical periods and like Baroque and uh people say Baroque. I've say said Baroque. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong.
I call it Baroque just to distinguish.
Yeah, either way. And
Yeah.
romantic period stuff. Oh yeah, like Vivaldi. I love all that stuff. Yeah, I also did that in when I went to performing arts school in high school. And yeah, I was mainly doing piano. But I mean, I was doing choir at in my high school too. So I've always like kind of went back and forth because I went to my public school, and then near the end I would go to my performing arts school, like in the last block. So that's kind of how that worked. But it was pretty fun. It was pretty cool to be involved with the arts when I was in high school.
Yeah, I guess the reason I was curious about that is I feel like a lot of the most successful and interesting pop artists are ones that come from like a very different background, you know what I mean? They're either they're classically trained or they're really into jazz or that sort of a thing. Because, they have musical talent, but they're also bringing something different into the mix, they're not just feedbacking on old pop ideas.
Oh yeah, wow! I didn't really think about that. Yeah, like I guess that does like have quite a bit of an influence. Also, like when in my like choir songs, like I know I'm really big into like like huge harmonies and pretty
Yeah,
complex
yeah.
harmonies. Like I'm really like engaged in that. So like when I was in choir, there's like all these parts and stuff. And I think like in my debut single that will come out, that it has that element of like choral element to it, where like there's lots of voices. I think there's just gonna be like a common thing in my pop tracks that there's just a lot of vocal tracks.
No, vocal harmony is great. I wish it
Yeah.
would. I think it's going to make a return. I certainly hope it does.
I grow up in a pretty like predominantly black neighborhood, so it's not like a lot of people would be like listening to rock music around here. But like with my mom, she would play this radio station that played 70s, 80s classic hits and stuff, and I really liked Queen's music. I was really like down
Oh
with
yeah.
with Queen, and like their track, like they would have so many like cool harmonies and stuff and like high notes. I was like, oh god, that's so cool. I love that. So yeah, I really like Queen. I guess that Queen is also an influence.
They have very rich operatic influence to their music, in addition to their obviously rock elements.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say they're a pretty classic example of what I was saying before. Somebody who goes into pop music from a startlingly different background oftentimes is going to make something pretty unique that lasts for a long time.
Oh yeah, yeah, their shit is banking. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like their record execs were looking at them crazy when they were like, "We're gonna do some fucking opera." And
Yeah,
it's dope. It's so dope.
yeah. I mean, it seems so obvious to us now because Bohemian Rhapsody is a song that literally everybody knows, but I'm sure at the time making that, I'm sure a couple people were dubious.
Yeah, and then it's super long. It's a super long song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it sounds pretty crazy, but wow, such a masterpiece.
Like you're saying, those sorts of long songs like Bohemian Rhapsody or Stairway to Heaven or whatever that, they used to be like, there would be every now and then a long, super long song like that would become a huge hit on the radio. And nowadays it seems like songs that are longer or that have weird structures, like they struggle to find a place, in popular mainstream radio type music. Do you think they're ever going to make a comeback? Do you think and if not, do you think that's necessarily a bad thing, or is it just, kind of times are changing?
I don't think I don't think anything is just like kind of set in stone. I do think like yeah, they'll have a comeback. Like I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Maybe somebody new, or maybe Lady Gaga will come back and come out with her 5 minute songs, or
Yeah. You
Yeah.
never
whoever. But
know.
like, I know as of late that songs of just like really popular songs on the radio are like 2 minutes long. Like Gucci Gang. That song is
Yeah.
like really short, and Lil Nas X original Old Town Road, like that
Heck
song was
yeah.
super short, just like, and they're like topping the chart, and it's just like they're only like barely 2 minutes long, so it's just like wow. And plus, I can understand like there's you have a catchy song, it's 2 minutes long, it has like tons of replay value to it because if it sounds really good and it's like wow, I wish there was more. Let me listen to it again. So it's just like I guess it kind of depends on how the times are going because like wow, you never know.
Yeah, sure. I wrote something about this recently. I feel like another big thing with that is, a lot of rap has to do with a lot of looping, parts that loop. So it feels like if you've got a good loop, you might as well, get in and get out as fast as you can because there's no reason to loop it for 4 or 5 minutes just to, try to stretch it out and add more content if it doesn't really need it. That's just
Yeah,
kind of how
true.
this medium is, I feel.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe it kind of is that way. I don't know. Maybe this generation might be a little bit less patient because I don't know since like everything's like pretty fast, everything's like right there, and like on to the next thing. Maybe that's how it is. I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying bullshit. I like I was with my nephew the other day and he doesn't really watch Hulu, but like he'll watch it. And like whenever it cuts to commercial break, like he's like it's taking way too long. And I'm like, wow, wow, it's just like only a few minutes of commercial break and it's like
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like all kids are that way, but perhaps particularly more with this generation. I'm not quite sure.
yeah, because I mean like Netflix streaming, there's like not really commercials. Like commercials was that, you know?
Yeah. Getting a little back to what we were saying before, though, I feel like what you do is very interesting because a couple of your songs, like they do have interesting structural changes, but they're not huge enough that they throw off the ability for it to be a catchy pop song. Like the song "Oh Geez," I forget who, but there's somebody featured on that, I think.
Oh yeah, J
Yeah,
Dell.
that one's cool because towards the end the beat like starts to get all shuffly and stuff, but you keep singing the chorus and like it's good, like it
Yeah,
works.
I have no idea how you found that song, but yeah, people keep asking me about that song, and yeah, I love that song. Yeah, it was I know like the influence of that song was basically a joke because I use like really bad, I don't know, I guess you would say grammar. And the song I say, "Oh Jesus" up in here, but like it sounds like "Oh Jesus."
Yeah, exactly. I
It
love
was
that
like,
kind of thing.
wow, is it a gospel song or not? And as I was producing the last part was like very gospel influence, like jazzy gospel influence. That wasn't even like a part of the song before it was like before I finished it. It was just kind of like the way the beat was in the beginning. It's kind of like some kind of DJ Mustard influence, like pop trap beat. But yeah,
Yeah.
like I kind of added the little gospel element just as like a joke because of the misheard lyric from when I
Oh
was
man, I
making the
love that.
song.
I love that a lot.
Yeah, but yeah. Oh yeah, I do kind of like a choir thing at the background too. So like wow. So yeah, that was the influence, basically the Jesus joke of the song. But wow, I don't
Oh,
know how you found out, but I don't want to know.
I've never heard that song either. You gotta link me to that.
Wow, it is a pretty fun track. Like I don't know if I sound the best on there, but I mean, yeah, it's a fun track. Yeah, I think it's on my bit. I don't know how you found that.
I'll be honest with you. I was like, all right, got to do some research for the interview. And the most basic idea that came to me was to search Kenny Pahina on YouTube. And if you go to your YouTube channel and you scroll down a little bit, it's like one of the first actual music videos on there. So
Wow, I thought I thought
that's
I
the
put it on
answer.
private. I thought the video was gone. I look horrible in that video. It was really.
Well, I'm glad it was on
I
public
filmed the
because I
I
really
filmed.
enjoyed that song.
I really appreciate it. Maybe I'll post it back up. Yeah, it was.
I
I filmed the video when I was in Guam, and it's like you can't really even tell it's in Guam because maybe you can because there's like not like a lot of island stuff that I was showing in the video. It's basically a bunch of party clips, and it's a really disorganized video, so that's why I took it down. But
Well, the
yeah,
song is good, regardless of, whatever you think of the video.
all right, I really appreciate it. Hashtag justice for OG.
Yeah, I can't even.
Woo!
I'm on his YouTube channel right now, and I don't see it.
You don't
I
see it?
don't man. What is this guy's?
I
This
guess
guy's
I'll
like
have to link
found
it.
my. He's like found my old demos and hacked into my computer. I gotta do a little research.
This is Nardwar level research. Let me.
So the blue shirt that you're wearing right now is really nice. Me looking outside my window.
Oh man. Here it is. It's right here. Let me link it.
I swear it's on private. I don't know.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is there. Let me see. No, no, I don't see it. Okay. So yeah, I don't know how you found that, man.
I think it was in a playlist. I think it was unlisted, but it was in a playlist, so I could still see
Yeah, it
it.
is. Yeah, it's unlisted. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what
Um,
it is. That makes more sense.
yeah, it's just like my cringe videos. I've all unlisted, and eventually they'll get exposed.
I don't know. I mean, if you wanna scrap the video, the visual material, that's fine. But I think the song is pretty good.
Yeah,
Very
the
good,
song is
actually.
actually. I really love that song. People keep asking me about that song, and yeah, I was like, yeah, I like that song. It's just, yeah, I need to bring it back.
So
I'll be
this
like
actually,
Drake releasing his songs like from 2012 on streaming platforms, like his old mixtapes.
Well, there was another song. I forget the name of it, unfortunately, but it towards the end it had a couple key changes, which I thought was
First
interesting.
time.
Yeah, first time. And I don't know. I guess what I thought was interesting about that is it's just not something you hear in pop music a lot. So I guess, do you think that's something that, your classical training sort of influenced you in that way, that you were like, oh, this is something you can do, whereas, somebody who just grew up with rap and pop might not even consider it.
I think the main influence for stuff like that is going to church, like like a black gospel choir. Like
right,
Mm,
usually in black churches, like they have stuff like that where I guess like in my and usually at the end of my pop songs, like I'll jump into some type of refrain, and I guess that's just like my thing, where there's kind of like lots of harmonies and just kind of like a background kind of repeating type of thing. But like the key changes is like something we do in church and stuff, and we'll like sing something and then we'll go up a note and stuff like that, or sometimes we keep going up a note, and
that's
yeah, that's pretty
interesting.
cool. Yeah, so you'll definitely hear that in my debut single, even though this weird me sing my debut single, but I guess like my first official multi-streaming platform song. So yeah, that will be in my new song. Well, that song first time I really like that because I've always wanted to do like 90s New Jack swing. That was
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know for some
Like the
reason.
breakbeat kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty fun. I don't know. I just like kind of creating nostalgic sounds to make you feel like, yeah, this feels like this was released in 1992. Or like it gives me vibes. Maybe I can make older people be like, I wish music was like this, like it was back in 1996. I'm like, what? It can happen. You just gotta find the people who are doing it. Look, hashtag Kenny Pahina. So if you have anybody complaining, be like, wow, there's like this kid that I know, and you just gotta listen to his music, promote it, tweet.
the New Jack Swing. What's really interesting about that is the emphasis on the kind of triplet style breakbeats as opposed to the normal kind of.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it has a swing to it, but it's literally in the name of the genre. But yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because when you think of triplets, in modern music, it's always like these very straight, rigid 4/4 trap beats, and it's, like a rapper doing some sort of triplet flow over that. But, you think about swing, a lot of swing is essentially triplets. It's, it's ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum,
Yeah.
ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. I mean, some
Yeah.
swing is more complicated than that, but a lot of it boils down to that ultimately.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's pretty fun. Yeah, it's just I feel like it's like R&B melodies mixed with, some hard hip hop beats. And
Yeah.
I guess and then it just kind of has like a pop appeal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
a
has
good
a big
combo.
pop appeal. It's just like, big pop stars were just like on that. Teddy Riley is just so amazing because he's like about the founder of New Jack Swing, if I'm correct. And I don't know, his stuff was popping. I know everybody was like heading to him, even Michael Jackson. And
Yeah, Teddy. I just looked at the Wikipedia. He's credited as the founder of New Jack Swing.
yeah, that's Teddy's sound. And people were popping on that stuff. Yeah, I'm like, wow, that's pretty amazing. I don't know, just to like, just to create a sound that everybody pops on, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
that's
all
pop
one
music
guy.
right there. Popular.
Yeah. I mean, you think about like, some genres of music, obviously, they'll spring up because, people slowly innovate on ideas, and they pass them back and forth and that sort of a thing. But when you get like a guy like Teddy Riley, like you said, or Max Martin, who just like completely creates a genre-defining sound, like out of the blue, it's always pretty impressive.
Yeah, like, oh my god, I love them all. I could like talk for days on them.
Well, it's interesting because Cultastic, a guest we had a couple weeks ago, also
Amazing.
mentioned Max Martin as being a big influence, even though the stuff she does is a lot more like, it's very much a different sound, yeah. Witch house, trance, sort of a vibe.
Yeah, her music is dope. Yeah, but like Max Martin, oh my gosh. Like he's just, I don't know, a pop. I literally call him Pop Jesus because that has an influence on, like, you can hear just a lot of Max Martin in my debut single "Are You Still in Love." From like
Yeah,
the
for sure.
beats to how they structured the song. I paid attention to the structure, and like you can hear lots of similarities. From like "Baby One More Time," "Tearing Up My Heart" by NSYNC. You know, I just wanted to create kind of like an alternate universe from that time period of a
Yeah.
song that might have been like, just like a deleted demo or something like that. Just for fun,
Sure.
Yeah.
I can't promise that my music will always sound like that, but I feel like they're all kind of connected in terms of something. So I guess you'll kind of
Yeah.
hear it.
When you were a kid, what was the first pop song, or really any song that you can remember hearing and thinking, I really want to create music like that? Is there a particular track that comes to mind?
To be honest, the reason why I like chose that as my single "Are You Still in Love" that as my single because I just kind of wanted to start at the beginning of when I was a kid, and I would see a lot of my influence start like when I was 5 years old. I would watch Michael Jackson all the time, so I'd say like Michael Jackson is, oh my god, that's such like a default to
Yeah.
be honest, because wow, that's just, yeah,
Yeah.
Michael Jackson. But I would say I would still go with Britney Spears' "Baby One More Time." That's a fucking banger. It's crazy. It's like that song is just magic. It's a bubblegum pop teeny bopper song, but that song carries a lot of weight, like from the bass line to the beat to just like the chorus. I'm like, wow, Max Martin, Dennis Pop, everybody involved with that song with the background vocals and everything is just like, that's a banger. I think it was supposed to originally go to TLC. I think TLC kind of liked the song, but I think they were like, "Nah, we're not gonna
Oh,
be talking about anybody hitting us one more time." I don't know if that's like being confused with domestic violence, but I think it's talking about somebody calling you, or maybe I hope that's what it means. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, 17, 18-year-old girl singing a song in a Catholic schoolgirl outfit. Yeah, that's gold. It's gold from the video. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I gotta make some music like that. But yeah, I would say that song as I keep going on.
There any artists? Obviously, we've mentioned Max Martin and you mentioned Michael Jackson. Any artists in the present right now producing music that you really admire or would even like to collaborate with at some point?
This is such a big name, but I mean, I just I just really I just really love Bruno Mars so much, like a lot. And I know he like produces and stuff. He has his own little team that he works with and friends and stuff, making like really cool nostalgic sounds. And it was just so funny because like I don't know, like a lot of my friends compare me to Bruno Mars because I guess like we both do like some kind of nostalgic type of thing. But it's funny because I did a new Jack Swing song and then like he released his album and then I hear a new Jack Swing song on there. I'm like, that's so cool. I'm like, he's
Yeah.
kind of doing what I'm doing. Like I literally won't get I literally won't get anything where it's like it's just like that's pretty cool that he does that also. But I know like really talented. I hope to be as like as somewhat as talented as that guy. He's pretty cool. He's a legend.
Yeah, I mean, Uptown Funk was a huge, huge track when it came out, and it also spread into a lot of viral memes. So,
Yeah, that track was oh my god, like we cannot get rid of that track. It
Yeah.
was literally I could have sworn like he performed at the Super Bowl. That track came out, Beyonce performed, and then wait, am I doing it? Am I saying it right? Beyonce performed, and then he performed, and then he performed again. And it was like the song was already 2 years old, and we're still here like Uptown Funk. That song would just not go away. It's a really great track. I love that track.
Yeah.
But like, oh my gosh, like that's I think it's so amazing that you can have a track that just won't die. You know.
I mean, it's been played so many times in the past few years that I can understand if people are starting to get sick of it, but certainly when it came out, it was a huge breath of fresh air.
Music that is good always like gonna have an influence on the world, and people are gonna want to make tracks that are kind of like that. But it's kind of cool that you can go back to like songs that older songs that people still listen to, and it's just like you can honestly kind of create something new or something similar, and it's just going to be it's going to be good. That song could have got
Yeah.
released like however so long ago. I'm pretty sure like there was like a shit ton of influences involved into that song, maybe a ton of influences that would probably try to go back and sue him because there's it's pretty similar, but it's so good though. So it's just like I don't know, I just think people who are like influences and stuff like that is just amazing because like something good can just like live on forever.
with your song coming out, do you plan to build kind of an album around it in the future, or is this something you just kind of want to release right now? Work on some of your other collaborations, and then maybe hold off on the album thing, or
I guess I've been telling like my friends for years, yeah, I'm gonna drop an EP or I'm gonna drop an album, and this is like 3 years later, and I'm just like putting out my first single. But yeah, like I think I'm not really focused on the whole album prospect or like as far as I'm telling you right now, like, or mini album EP or anything like that. Mainly is just like hopefully getting to reach different people who will probably like appreciate it and just like kind of build my fan base because I'm just kind of beginning. I feel like this first single, I think it's a really cool track, a really nostalgic track. I think it's the most bubblegum shit you'll probably hear in a while. So I don't really know, but I feel like just like the whole universe of bops that I have coming out are kind of all connected in a way. Yeah, like I just hope to just reach people through these singles that I have coming up and stuff, rather it be with a visual or whatever creative way I have to reach other people with it. I just want to make some, fun pop tunes.
So you had mentioned to me that for your job you've done a lot of traveling. How has that affected your music, if at all?
I guess like as in experiences and stuff, I could say that like just traveling to different places and going different places and coming back and being gone for so long, years or like months away from family is, I feel like that would have the bigger aspect as going into songwriting and producing, because all that kind of stuff. You can write a shit ton of stuff about being away, or being away from maybe like a lover, or like family. I know I have a second song that's coming out that will probably deal more with me, just traveling and working and stuff.
So you also have a music video coming out for this single you're going to be releasing, and how did that all sort of come together? How do you get everybody on board and film it? And when did you actually film it? Because you say you've been working on this for 3 years.
Yeah, honestly, like parts of the video are literally rendering as we speak. But yeah, like I was making a beat with on my computer. I just wanted something that was nostalgic, something that could play off of my song First Time, which got released in 2015, with my friends. In 2016, I was like, let's go bigger. So I had like, better camera. I usually do stuff on my own. I'm very DIY. I would say I'm a very DIY person because like, I try not to rely too much on people. So I just kind of try to do my stuff on my own. So I would call up different people. I'll just like stalk different people, be like, wow, this guy's really good at dancing. Let me try to hit his friends up. And like, hopefully he won't think I'm weird and like join me in my video. So basically trying to make friends and work on a video. And it's just like, dealing with traveling and stuff, time, working, and then just like procrastinating would just be the result of these 3 years. But now that I'm back home, I can finish it up. And I'm like just hoping I didn't age too much, because I don't know, maybe I'm a vampire, maybe I'm not. I know people tell me I look really young, but I don't know how young I look, but yeah, but hopefully you don't really notice the big face changes. But I think it's pretty cool. It's probably gonna be sad when the song flops.
Oh,
Wow, we worked on that for 3 years. Wow, that was amazing. Wow, 3 years. Wow, but yeah, like it's just passion and kind of going in and out. But I promise to be more consistent after I release this single.
Yeah, consistency can be kind of tough sometimes because you get a creative drought and then it just kind of rolls on for longer than you'd like. And sometimes you have to force yourself to get back on to even have a chance of getting anything back, to getting your momentum.
That's literally what happened with First Time. So I had my little New Jack Swing song. I don't think I sounded the best on there, but I think it was a pretty cool track. I think it got pretty popular. It got pretty popular for other reasons too. But like where it was, like I thought it was pretty good for me, just like kind of starting. But yeah, like I had nothing else to follow up after that. It was just like, wow, when's your next song coming out? I'm like, yeah, it's gonna, come out on this day, and then months pass by and there's nothing. So basically, I've just been building my catalog since I started, working on the Are You Still in Love project. And I was like, I gotta have something else following up. So throughout the time, I've just been literally throughout the past 3 years, I've just been working on different tracks, different bops that people will like in the future. So yeah, there's going to be some consistency now that I actually have a catalog, which is pretty cool. So that's my artillery for the future. So there's something to come up, after this first single, and then something to come up after that.
I mean, you're building depth, which is always a good thing to have.
Yeah, like I think there's some pretty cool stuff to be coming out. Like, you're gonna be seeing something different. A lot of similarities to like the next track, but if there's anything,
Gotcha.
like I just want it to be, some good pop bops, just with big courses, harmonies, vocals, giving you all that.
So, in some of your music that's been released, you've done collaborations with certain singers, and how is that for you? Like, you mentioned obviously for your music videos reaching out to people, but to reach out and kind of network, how do you feel about that? And do you feel like as your catalog is built up, you'll be able to sort of attract more of a following for yourself?
Mainly the people I've collabed with are mainly my friends and stuff like that. So it's honestly not like a big deal. Maybe it's just like we'll work on a track. Maybe it'll get released. Maybe it won't. Or I have a couple of tracks with some friends that I'm working with and stuff that yeah, like just mainly that's who I like collaborate with. But I would love to collaborate with, different singers or artists and stuff like that. Just like introduce them to a different fan base, introduce me to a different fan base. So I think that's pretty cool. I love to collab. Yeah, like collabing, like I'm down for that. Like I know that especially like, there's some secret tracks that nobody knows about. Like maybe in between this podcast there'll be pretty dope singles in the future. I just
Yeah,
gotta stay
Yeah.
consistent. I would just yeah, the fires in the podcast. You guys don't know.
talking about you'll have a song and it's almost done, and then you like redo a part of it, and you keep redoing it, and like eventually you have to put it out. I feel like a lot of perfectionists tend to have a creative streak, but at the same time, it's difficult for them to do that sort of thing, not because they aren't creative, but because they try to make everything perfect, and nothing can be perfect. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a huge perfectionist, but I think it's a problem that a lot of people experience.
Yeah, it's difficult. I like to watch interviews of artists and stuff. I was watching an interview with Bruno Mars, and he was like he'll go back and forth, especially with his friends, like, yeah, this kick needs to be louder, this like snare needs to be like more sharper, and like the the highs need to be boosted on the snare, and then they'll like release the song, and he'll like say that even like now, like he'll be like, dang, I really should have boosted the highs on that snare. But that's pretty like interesting because like we like as the listeners we like this shit is banging, but like nobody, like he's like thinking like, damn, I should have really boosted the highs on that snare. So it's really
Yeah,
interesting to like know what the other artist is thinking. Be like, God damn, I wish I would have changed that. You know.
yeah.
So
I feel like
God,
that's kind of a yeah. It feels like it's kind of a curse that every time you put something out, as soon as you put it out, that's when you start to realize like the tiny details that maybe you can't notice, but that will drive you insane. You'll get super, not you specifically, but like a hypothetical you in general. It applies to me too. I think it applies to a lot of people.
I don't know if it's a thing. Maybe I wonder if I wonder if artists, big popular artists, do they put their songs in stores and then like change it and stuff. I remember like Kanye West like had an album and then he like completely changed it and add like DLCs to
Yeah.
it at some point in time. I don't know this digital age. Like I think you can just kind of maybe do anything. I just don't really know how it works. But I wonder if people
Yeah.
do that. Be like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Kanye did that with The Life of Pablo, and if Kanye can do it, then anybody can do it.
Yeah, like yeah, if you like listen to the song 10 times, you'll get like an unlockable song. Maybe I don't know, but
Yeah.
and be like, I'm pretty sure like maybe you'll be able to edit your songs, but maybe not to the point that be like, dang, this is a different song. I don't like it. But eventually you just gotta release it. But I would say
Yeah.
like I mean if it's trash, please save yourself the cringe in the future. So like just make sure it sounds good. Be
Yeah,
like, dang,
right.
he really shouldn't have released this. Because I feel like a lot of
Uh,
times, like with singers or like rappers, that like not necessarily they would be like a bad singer or a bad performer. It's just like maybe that's just wasn't the good take. Obviously, you can't change that with a live performance, but I mean, still though.
you can't just lip sync.
Yeah, you could. I mean, they were. It's been done. It's been done. Yeah, there's so many. I think like as of today, like there's so many melismatic singers now. Like it's not like 2010 anymore where you can just kind of do whatever. I don't know. Kids these days, they want they want vocals like from their singers and stuff. They want them to give them the high notes and stuff, and they want to hear it live. I don't know. It's not maybe not like that big of a deal if you're just like a pop
I
sensation
mean, it's
and
interesting because with all these, rappers that became popular in the past few years, a lot of them in their live show, they're basically, they're not lip syncing, but they're just doing live vocals on top of the original vocal tracks. And a lot of the time, they're completely out of tune with their own original vocal track, unless they have
yeah.
some heavy autotune with them. And sometimes even then, they're a little shoddy. So I guess, if these guys can get super big, then it definitely leaves room in the marketplace, or at least in the
Yeah.
public, for a person who has like the same kind of energy, but they're also like a really talented performer and singer. And you seem like a very talented singer to me.
I really appreciate it, but I think like some people they'll even record quote unquote live vocals as like a playback track, so it's like something different, but it sounds like it's live because maybe it'll be like something that's like more raw sounding rather than and then they'll like play that during the show. Um, Either way, maybe if you're
Uh,
like doing some intense dance moves and stuff
I'm
and like
sure.
stunts, I can understand. But I mean, if you're gonna stand there, I mean, maybe just try to give us some live vocals. I can understand if you're doing like a intense dance routine, like maybe I don't know. I don't think it's gonna work if you're doing backflips and stuff, but maybe you can do it. Then more power to
Sure.
you. I'm sure
We'll lose
Beyonce.
you very quick.
Mentioned Kanye West before, and have you seen some of his Sunday service stuff? Because I feel like the choirs and stuff you mentioned before, that is a heavy focus in his Sunday service. I'm curious, what do you think about that?
Oh yeah, like with Kanye West and stuff like that. Like, I think all this stuff is pretty cool. Like, maybe it'll be considered controversial just because of the artist he is, but either way, like it sounds pretty good. Like I know he's not like not anything like particularly new, because he has like done stuff like this in the past where he has like those influences and they're amazing songs, especially Jesus Walks by Kanye West. Record, I mean, even with like the samples, that's pretty cool. And Life of Pablo, where he has lots of gospel influences, and they're like kind of like thrown all the way in there. But like it always sounds amazing. Like I think anytime you just have a choir in a song, like you can make some magic. Like one of my favorite Madonna songs is like a prayer, and that's a banger. Just like with all the vocals in the background, that's so cool. I don't
That's a
know
great
how.
song.
Yeah, it's
I love
powerful.
that
Like it
song.
has a lot of power. So I
Yeah.
really enjoyed those influences. It's just always gonna be like a sense of power when you just add that Anytime you had a choir in the background, hell, maybe like in the future you'll just be hearing like these. Oh, I was gonna literally say trap songs with like choirs in the background, but this Ariana Grande God is a woman, and she literally made a choir of herself, and that sounds pretty good, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
power of overdubbing. You can do anything if you put
yeah,
your
just
mind to
like we'll just give them whoever's doing the like mixing and engineering a nightmare, but still, yeah, like mixing all those vocals is something, but it's always very fun. It's power. It's a lot, adds a lot of power. Yeah, I think it's
it.
cool what he
Absolutely,
does.
yeah.
Possible at some point you would do a live show or live performance of your music, and would it include a choir?
Oh, just this past Friday, I did a producer gig at this place called Offbeat in Jackson, Mississippi, and it's basically a comic book store, really vibey store. Live music is happening. Yeah, like it's a pretty cool place. There's this guy DJ Young Venom that like owns it and stuff, and it's just like a really cool place. And yeah, they asked me to do a producer set, and I mean, mainly people play their beats, but little do they know that, like, they didn't really know who I am. But like, I was releasing my debut single, and it was basically about to be like a secret listening party. So that's what it turned into. Like, I played some remixes I had and showed my debut music, and yeah, like that was pretty cool. So I think they kind of liked me. I thought it was a pretty cool experience. So yeah, I do want to do live performances. I've thought about the little choir thing. If that could ever happen, maybe that would be pretty cool. But yeah, I would do it. I would totally do it. Have any of you guys seen Sister Act 2?
I have
Yeah.
not.
Oh yeah, like so that song was. I mean that video. I mean that movie was like released early 1990s, but like I guess like the first movie was Whoopi Goldberg and it was called Sister Act and it was a bunch of nuns and then there was like this like lady who was like maybe possibly a criminal or something like that. I don't really remember, but she goes as like disguised as a nun and like joins the choir. The next movie, she becomes like, a teacher for these ragtag group of kids and stuff. But it's like the early 90s scene. And like, they do this like work up to this like huge festival and they have like this new Jack Swing version of like Joyful Joyful. Yeah, yeah, that song. Joyful 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 something something. But yeah, like they have a new
Something
Jack Swing version of
triumphant.
that. They have a new Jack Swing version of that like hymn. It's like super dope. They have the Lauren Hill in that track, like Jennifer Love Hewitt's in the background. Uh, yeah, it was dope. So I can totally get behind that whole sound, choirs and retro beats. That would be a vibe. Yo, like you guys make some dope music. You know that? It's pretty cool. Like I don't know if you guys would
Say that
would
again?
like. I said you guys make some pretty dope music. Like I'd be like jamming to it on the
Oh
side.
man, well thank
I'd
you.
be like, wow. I'd be like literally just like thinking of tracks in my head when I like hear you guys beats. I'd be like, I
Hey,
was like, if I were to sing this song, I would do it like this.
so, Kenny, is there any other person in your family that you would say has been really instrumental in encouraging your music training or as in fact maybe in music themselves?
Well, I know my dad kind of like my dad and my grandma had me started singing in church and stuff, and around I was 5 years old and stuff, and I would just be like, singing and doing songs in front of. I will usually be solos, and I would hate doing, not necessarily hate doing it, but like they would always give me the like slow hymnals. This is so boring. I'm just like singing like some really slow song about the blood of Jesus Christ. And like usually other kids, they'll be like singing some up tempo songs, but I was just really like into up tempo songs. But other than that, like that kind of like really started me in singing. My dad and then my parents also got me into piano lessons. My brother was already, kind of the one who was into the piano, like playing the piano. He was into jazz improvisation because that's kind of what you do in church. And like he would play, and then I would just like grab my little microphone and I would just start singing and stuff. So other than that, like we kind of have a musically inclined family a bit. But like me and my brother, we just kind of like do it all and stuff. Like he plays piano in church, and he also DJs. He can play bass, guitar, drums. That's pretty cool. Me, like, I play piano. I was mainly doing sight reading. My brother doesn't really like. He's not really into reading sight music. Like, I don't really read sheet music that much often because I don't really play like I used to. Like when I was doing recitals and stuff in school. Other than that, like other families been like encouraging cousins and stuff, just like my friends and stuff. Like, yeah, we want to hear some more stuff. Keep going. So that's pretty cool. Also, my dad has never like really put me on a pedestal. Like when I started, like I was horrible with the whole producing and like singing stuff. Like he was like, "Yeah, you don't sound good," and I'll be like, "You don't understand." Like I would make like, cause he was, he likes a certain type of music, soul music from the 50s, 60s, and stuff. And I was making some like really janking Lady Gaga sounding type shit, and he would just be like, "This sounds
Oh yeah,
horrible," and
yeah,
I'd be
yeah.
like, "Dad, you don't love me. You love me," but like he's just being really honest. And like if I sounded bad, because I would record on a shady mic, but still, I sounded pretty bad at 14, 15 and
Yeah.
stuff like yeah. And I was just working so hard to hit that type of something that he would like. And it was
Mm.
around like, when I was 18. It was before he passed away. I made some type of 90s R&B track and like I recorded to it. I just kind of like did some retro stuff. Maybe he would like it. And he was like, "Yeah, that sounds pretty good. You sound good on that." I'm like, "Yes, finally." I guess like that's kind of like a boot on my back to actually focus on trying to sound good. So yeah.
Brutal honesty is definitely an overlooked essential piece of evolving as an artist, I think.
Yeah, I would think he was just being freaking mean. My friends would be like, "Yeah, that sounds cool." My dad was like, "Yeah, you're not singing good on that track. You don't sound good on that at all." And you're like, "But but my friends, they say I sound good." Like, no, I sounded bad. I can listen to it and I can totally agree
Right,
it sounded
right.
bad. It was no, it was actually like pretty good for a kid who was just like really doing this on his own and stuff like that. Like I don't think he like really believed that I was putting all this stuff together because I don't think he could fathom that. He was like born in the 50s, so like
Yeah,
yeah, I was
yeah.
doing all that stuff on my own, but like it was pretty decent. It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good from where it started. But like still though, I think it's pretty good for people not to put their kids on a pedestal. He explained it later that like I never put you on a pedestal because there's a shit ton of kids who go up to American Idol and be like, "My mama said I was singing in the womb," and like they'll go embarrass themselves on national TV and they have no idea why. They
Yeah.
literally think they'll sound good and like maybe not, maybe you just need to work on it some more. If people just telling you like, "Wow, you sound really good," and you're not, and like, you're just gonna be like, "Wow, I sound really good," and just have people, yeah, that brutal honesty is
Hey,
very crucial at a young age too.
rolling back a bit to influences, I've mentioned this to you before, but the PC music catalog has definitely drawn a lot of influence from the kind of 90s bubblegum pop sound. Do you have any favorite artists in the PC music catalog?
The PC music catalog, jeez, like I definitely love Charlie XCX. Like Charlie XCX kind of like introduced me to it all. But like, yeah, she's really dope. But I'm not like, I can't really like say she is like PC music all the way, cause like not really. But AG Cook, his productions are like so cool. Hannah Diamond, I really liked. I don't know. It was just like some these like tracks. I don't know. Like I stumbled upon them on like SoundCloud. They're just so I don't know. AG Cook is a pretty dope dude. Like I don't know how it all kind of came together, But yeah, like I know Hannah Diamond's music, like that's pretty cool. Like a Danny dude, right?
Yeah, Danny Harl.
All of them are, I just think they're pretty dope, especially like when it comes to, I'm pretty sure they're like into visual arts and like digital art. Like I know Hannah Diamond is, and like I just like the aesthetics that they choose. Just kind of like got into the whole like art movement. I just think it's pretty cool. And like, no, do you have PC music influences? That's what I was like thinking. No, like are you influenced by that?
I mean, I don't know if it's something that I think about consciously, but I definitely listen to a lot of it. So I'm sure it kind of like, subconsciously seeped its way into a lot of what I've been doing.
Yeah, like so I honestly wasn't like completely down with all of it because there's like a lot of harsh sound. Well, there was Charlie XCX's track. Do you guys know the Charlie XCX track "Vroom Vroom"?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like when I first heard it, like this is kind of like this is kind of weird, but I like it kept popping in my head, and I just kept going back listening to it. Yeah, the
Bitches
track
know they
was
can't
like
catch
pretty
me.
dope. Like Sophie is like really dope. I noticed until like later on where I like started hearing other music from Sophie and stuff. But I was like, wow, like yeah, I'm like into the sound, and I kind of like could catch the vibe, like as like hearing all the connected songs, like I love it. So I can't really choose a favorite artist right now because they're so interconnected. They all work with each other, so it's like they all contribute a part of the experience together. Like I
Yeah,
can't really
exactly.
like name one. I feel bad, but I mean like I can't name one.
Yeah, Sophie is really interesting because Sophie did like this, it has the same sort of like uncanny valley quality as a lot of the other PC music stuff, but it's also like some of it's really harsh and noisy, like you said.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was like, oh god, because I was used to listening to the earlier Charlie XCX music and the mainstream Charlie XCX music. To when she made the transition in that EP, I was like, "What's going on? Like,
yeah,
what is this?"
yeah.
But
It's a
it's
big
like
jump.
I kept listening to it. I was like, okay, like I can dig it.
Sophie produced a Vince Staples album, I'm pretty sure entirely, which is crazy. When I first heard that Vince Staples album, I wasn't even like familiar with Sophie or PC music at all. But I knew that it was like I definitely thought, this is some interesting production. And it just kind of, rabbit hole from there.
When I was in UAE in Abu Dhabi, like I would just be like I would make a little PC music playlist, and I would just be like driving on my flight line, just like listening to all the different tunes, and I'm like, yeah,
That
PC
sounds
music is
pretty
a vibe.
sick.
Oh yeah, it was like some sweaty work. It was a cool place, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that's
So now, obviously, a lot of big name artists are based in or based out of LA. And in fact, when our episode with Connection 2000, he mentioned that a lot of Australian musicians and actors will go to LA to try and make it big. Is that something that you would consider doing if somebody offered you the chance to go out to LA to expand your career? Is that something you would do, or what is your thought on that?
I feel like there's a time and place for everything. I know I have some friends that are like in that area, or like have a really cool friend, Crystal Gem, who I collaborate with like whenever I come down to Mississippi, and that's where she's going to school at. And yeah, like she's a pretty cool artist. You guys should check her out. Her name is Crystal Gem. It's spelled with a K, Crystal, and then Gem, GEM. Um, like you'll see her in my video. She's gonna be in the "Are
Yes.
You Still in Love" video, and she also is gonna be in some future songs that like people don't really know about yet. But anywho, yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Like, as of right now, maybe that's not the best time for me. I don't know, but I would love to go to LA and like experience that experience just to like if I was given the opportunity. Hell yeah, I would definitely go. As of right now, I'm just like trying to, kind of build my fan base in the local scene, cause like trying to build those connections while I'm here and stuff, and just getting started and building. So yeah, like I think it'd be pretty cool. I would love to go to LA. I've always wanted to.
Speaking of Crystal, I noticed in one of your Instagram posts it's a picture of you and Crystal, and you are in makeup as Beast Boy from Teen Titans, and I'm really curious what prompted that. What prompted you to do that? And just is that potentially a hint at maybe a future music video to come?
Woo, boy, you're like digging into my future projects. So yeah, like we planned on doing that like since 2017. Like she's really into cosplay. There's like I think it's just so cool. Like people do comic cons around here, and do like dress up and stuff. Like I'm not like really big into anime and stuff like that. I would like to eventually like maybe get more into it. My brother watches anime, and like I have friends who watch it, but I haven't gotten into it. But yeah, like it's just they'll be talking about it, and I don't really know much about it. But yeah, I think cosplay is so cool, and we did have plans for that for a video, but other than that, like she cosplays as Raven, and it's kind of like a recurring thing she does sometimes. And I just thought it'd be cool to do Beast Boy because like I've always wanted to do Beast Boy. I thought I would make a pretty cool looking Beast Boy, to be honest. And I think we pulled it off pretty well. So yeah, like I can't really say. Maybe it will be like included, but we have thought about it. So
I gotta kind of wrap this interview up, but it's been fun talking with you, Kenny. And is there anything you'd like to shout out before we wrap this up?
okay, cool. Kenny Pahina on all social media. There's like Pahina. Find me on SoundCloud. I don't really post there yet, but I will be. Instagram, Facebook, all the like social media, popular social medias. Yeah, it'll be cool to like add me as a friend or whatever. I'm always down. And my debut single, "Are You Still in Love," comes out Saturday morning.
Very nice.
All right. Well, with that, I've been DJ Angel Fire and 51st Citizen for World Movers Media Podcast, and we'll see you next week.